Have you ever had a problem with eBay in your past that was so simple but caused you so much grief and headache and you spent so much time trying to fix the problem, but it was such a simple solution? Let me know about that in the comment section below, because today we're talking about 5 problems that I noticed a lot of people are complaining about and a lot of people are talking about in these various eBay communities. So who am I to begin with? Because this is actually my very first video on this brand new channel here. I'm actually an eBay seller. I specialize in men's clothing, mostly like men's dress wear, men's, dress shirts, blazers, suits, and whatnot. You can actually see I got a whole pile of them back there. So why is it that I decided to specialize in men's clothing? Maybe I'll talk about that in another video, but it's basically a nexus between my personal interest and also my experience from my extensive history in working in retail. I actually worked in retail, the same job, for like 10 years, so I gained a lot of experience in customer service and also a lot of experience in sales, plus a lot of knowledge about clothing and whatnot. So getting into today's video, so starting off at number 1, by the way, this list is in no particular order, but number 1 is being too attached to the items that you sell and just taking everything on eBay so personally. You really shouldn't do that. So like, say for example, most of us sell things that we have a personal interest in. I feel like that's the best way to do it, because when you're personally interested in something, it's just going to be easier for you to go ahead and investigate and take the due diligence to learn more about the stuff that you're selling, because you're generally interested in it. And when you first start your eBay store, you are going to come in there with more knowledge, versus like if you don't cook and you're selling kitchen supplies, for example, you're not going to know much about that, versus me selling clothing after I worked 10 years in a retail store selling clothing. So anyways, the important thing here is that you need to separate yourself from the item itself. Like, say for example, if you buy something that you think is really awesome, but the market value on the item is a lot lower than you expected it to be, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't convince the customer that the item is more expensive than the market value of the item. All you can do is sell the item for what it's worth. Secondly, if somebody tries to return an item, don't take it so personally. So here's the thing about returns. Value is in the eye of the beholder, and we don't always have the luxury of having a second set of eyes or a third set of eyes on the merchandise that we buy. Hell, I went shopping, I went sourcing with my girlfriend. I feel sorry for her that day, but I said, hey, can you help me out? Can you be my second set of eyes on this stuff? So I looked at it, she looked at it, and still we got home with this stuff, and I realized that a few of the items had a small little defect on it. You don't notice 100% of the problems that's wrong with this stuff when you're buying secondhand goods, but the customer may, because they're spending a lot more money on it than you are, so you better be sure that they're going to do that due diligence to make sure that it's just as described. So if somebody wants to return it, and if there's a problem there that you didn't notice, don't take it out on the customer, and don't take it so personally. Don't let it ruin your day. Don't think about it as the pants that you owned, somebody didn't like them or something like that. Just think about it as item number 32501. Somebody didn't like. You got to think about it that way. You got to really separate yourself from it. And I know, yes, it is a loss in money, but that's the thing. The amount of money that you're losing on some of this stuff is not really worth the amount of time and the heartache and the headache that some people have over stuff. Like, there's this guy, this is the reason why I added to the list. There was a guy in the Discord group that I'm a part of who, I feel like this dude was talking about this return for maybe a week and a half. And he was talking about these controllers that he bought in a broken set for video games. He bought them broken, he was going to sell them broken for parts. And the customer that bought it didn't have the correct working part in it that they needed to fix something else, so they wanted to return it. And this person was complaining about it for a couple weeks. And yeah, I understand as a business owner what it's like to have returns, but you just need to separate yourself from that and not take everything so personally. It's business. That person's trying to get the best for their money, and you're trying to get the best for your money. That's why you need to pay more attention to the stuff that you buy. Secondly, a lot of people, this is the second point here, a lot of people are putting best offer on anything, and they will accept anything for it. Now, this is the problem. There are so many things that eBay wants you to do to maximize sales. Oh, if you do free returns, then you're going to increase your sales by 11%. If you do free shipping, you're going to increase your sales by 11% on top of that. If you put best offer, you're going to increase your sales. Yeah, if you put your items up for eBay for free, you would increase your sales, but the point is not to make as many sales as you can. The point is to make as much profit as you can and find ways to find the nexus between making your customers happy and making as much profit as you can off of this item. You're not trying to give this stuff away, and I see that a lot of people out there are putting best offer on anything and everything and accepting anything and everything, and then they want to complain, oh, I put free shipping and best offer, and I live in the East Coast and my customer lives on the West Coast, and it costs $15 to ship this $15 item. You really have to think about what you're going to be making in the long run, and is your time with the item worth it? Personally, I do not do best offer on anything unless it has been sitting in the store long enough to be stagnant. I will probably get into further detail about my business strategies in another video. I'm not trying to be too helpful in this video because this is a free video, but I just feel like people are tripping over themselves in order to give things away practically for free with the best offer. I only do best offer. I auto accept and auto decline at $5 under. If they give me an offer, like say for example, if it's a $40 item and I spend $5 on it, I will make it so auto accept $5 under the price that I set, and maybe next month I will change it. But for the most part, I have everything. 99% of the items in my store are just buy it now, no best offer, and it works. People buy products all the time off eBay. Every single second somebody's buying something off eBay for the price that the seller dictated, if it is in accordance with the market value of the item. Don't just give your stuff away. Don't cut yourself short. I noticed a lot of people doing that, and in fact, I did that in the beginning too, because that was like the mindset that everybody had. You gotta put best offer and just almost accept whatever. This is another thing. If you're doing all this stuff, free shipping, free returns, like I said, you're just not going to make any profit doing that. So you gotta tighten the rope somewhere or another. So moving on to point number 3, we have not washing and not inspecting the items that you buy. You just blow through the store and buy a whole bunch of stuff and list it, and there you go. It doesn't get washed or anything. Of course, that's mostly pertaining to clothing, but you need to inspect everything that you buy. Like, the person in the Discord group that I brought up earlier, if you had inspected the controllers and realized that selling broken controllers for parts isn't really going to make you a whole lot of money because controllers themselves are not that profitable. You got to think about it. Pretty much everything that people are doing on eBay, the majority of it is not a whole lot of profit. Most people only get maybe between 10 to 25% ROI on a lot of stuff that they get. Sometimes you hit these home runs, buy something for $5 and sell it for $80. That's rare. You can't build a business on that, and you can't expect everything to have that same amount of profit margin. So you need to inspect the items that you have so that you have less returns, so that you waste less time in listing these items that are going to get returned anyways, and so you save your money on buying stuff that's not going to get sold. Now, the thing about washing clothing, this is downright disgusting to me. This is really one of the reasons why I made this channel here, because all these YouTubers, all these people in these communities are in this mindset of, oh, I'll wash it if it needs to be washed. Here's the tip. If you bought it from a thrift store, it needs to be washed. If it's clothing, it needs to be washed, because here's the thing. If you're buying from a yard sale, that person is selling to you from their closet, so it's going to be clean because they're trying to sell the stuff directly to you. Goodwill will take anything. So at a yard sale, you're not going to have people selling you stuff that's straight out of their laundry bin. They're not going to sell you dirty clothes, but at Goodwill, people will drop off dirty clothes. People will drop off things that they know they couldn't sell at a yard sale. So you'll get clothes that are stained. You'll get DVDs that are so ancient that they're starting to delaminate. That's another thing. So you need to inspect the stuff that you have. You need to wash the clothing that you have. Have you ever been in the room with somebody that was so oblivious to the smell of their own ass that you could smell across the room, but they have no idea about it? That's because if we smell things for long enough, we just get used to it and we can't even smell it anymore. We don't even notice it. That's what's happening to you with eBay stuff. So if you wash something because it has a stain, I feel like a stain is the least of the reason why you should wash something. Wash it to get the smell out. If something's got a stain, just don't buy it, but you can wash the smell out. Sometimes you can wash the stain out, but if it's been sitting in Goodwill, it's unlikely that the stain is going to come out because it's been sit in, and it's likely that it's been washed in the past since that stain is there, so just don't buy it if you notice it. So yeah, just wash everything. At least do it for the common courtesy of the people that you live with. Maybe you are fine with the fact that you don't smell the skunk and the spunk and all this body odor and smoke and stuff all over the clothes that you're selling, but your family, your roommates, they can smell that stuff. And also your customers smell it too. So if they get nice smelling, fresh smelling, there was a YouTuber that complained about, they had a customer that complained about the smell of the dryer sheets or whatever on their clothing. Oh, they didn't like the smell of the dryer sheet that I use. Okay, well, I can guarantee you that they also would complain about the smell of smoke or ass on the stuff that they bought. By the way, if you're not sold on washing your clothes, it is an eBay policy to do so, to sell clean clothing, and I have in the description section below linked a Suzanne A Wells video about why you should wash your Goodwill stuff, and she basically goes in and talks about things that she's heard from people who worked as managers and whatever at Goodwill, and it's some pretty eye-opening stuff there. So moving on to the fourth point, we have specialization. Now, not everybody specializes in their store, but I feel like most people could benefit from specializing, not because your store, you want customers to come and buy things because they're similar items or whatever, but because if you have more knowledge about the items that you're selling, then you're able to identify higher value items and identify higher quality items in order to sell them and keep them gone and not have any returns with that. And also, basically, if you spread yourself too thin across so many different things, like you're selling postcards, men's clothes, women's clothes, shoes, video games, DVDs, CDs, vinyl records, yeah, that's fine if you got a team of like several people who are able to like help you look at this stuff and able to research for you. But if you're just one person, there's no possible way that you'll be able to identify the quality and value of all of these different items. Say me, for example. When I walk into a Goodwill or a thrift store, you know, whatever, and yard sale or what have you, and just go buy clothing, I can look at a shirt and say, has this been washed too many times? I can just feel it. I can look at the stitching and say, this is going to be pretty good. Even if I haven't heard of the brand before, I can look at it and say, this is probably going to sell for this amount of money because it has this, and this factor to it. It's made with this material and it's got this stitching. It's this pattern and whatnot, and I know it could sell for a certain amount of money. Secondly, if I go look at a suit, I can look and see, oh, it's disproportionate in this manner, so I know it's been tailored. I can look at the stitching and know it's been tailored. I can look at the fabric and know how it's been taken care of, if it's been kept in plastic bags or if it's just been laid out there and let the moths eat at. I can tell all this stuff by looking at it, but somebody who sells men's clothing, women's clothing, CDs, DVDs, records may not know that by looking at it, especially if you're starting off. I mean, if you're at the stage where you're looking to YouTube for tips on how to grow your business, you're probably at the stage where you should specialize and focus on one thing, one type of item to sell. Keep in mind, I live in an area where there's a lot of thrift stores, there's a lot of Goodwills. Goodwill is king around here, but there's not really a lot of high-end items around here. It's mostly like mid-tier items. Like I sell a lot of like Brooks Brothers, you know, it's a nice brand, but there are certainly a lot of higher brands out there that can get you a lot more money, a lot more profit in the long run. But I sell a lot of like mid-tier items, and it's important for me to understand the quality of the items that I'm buying. So next, moving on to number 5, the last point is no inventory method. So this, along with the whole not washing the items or wash it if you need to wash it, is honestly the reason why I made this video, because I see a lot of YouTubers out there, and yeah, they're more experienced than me. They have a bigger store, they have a bigger YouTube channel than the one you're watching now, but I sometimes feel like they're patronizing their viewers or they're being condescending, because I had to unsubscribe from somebody recently. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to have any drama here, but this person has been doing YouTube and has been doing eBay for This person has been doing YouTube and eBay for a very long time, for several years, and they were complaining about in a video, oh, my inventory is a mess. I don't know how to take inventory. I don't know how to inventory my items, so whenever somebody orders something, it takes so long for me to find it. No, come on. If you're doing eBay for years and you don't have an inventory system, that is a massive problem, and you should probably let somebody else either run that, or maybe you should look into other options. I'm not trying to be condescending here, but if you're going to have a store with hundreds of items in it and you don't have an inventory system, you clearly don't know what you are doing. So here's the thing about inventory. It is not difficult at all to do, and everybody can do it. I feel like your inventory system and the way that you package your items and ship them out go hand in hand together. Like, say for example, with what I do, I'm just going to tell you specifically straight out what I do here because it's so simple. Go down to Walmart, buy those big blue plastic tubs. Buy like 10 of them. I've got big tubs, small tubs, but the big tubs usually hold about 30 shirts, they hold about 12 jackets in them, depending on like the thickness of the jacket or whatever. But just buy like 10 of them. They're probably like between $8 and $15 a piece, depending on the thickness. I like to get the thicker ones so I can stack them like 5, 6 high. And just label the bucket, and when you get ready to put your item in it, buy these clear plastic bags. I bought like 400 of these at once because I use a lot of them. But these clear plastic bags, what you do is you put your item in the bag. I fold my shirt or my suit up nicely. The suit has a bigger bag, obviously, but I fold it up nicely. I put it in here, and I take a sticker. I bought 3,000 blank envelope address labels, and I stick one of those on here. I bought it for $5 off of eBay. I stick that on here. I write the bin number B5, and I write the item number 15 or whatever, and then I put it in the item description. And I don't know what's so difficult about doing that. It's so easy. So whenever somebody buys an item, you know what bin it's in, you know what item number it is, and it's already pre-wrapped. So all you need to do is put it inside of another poly bag that is not clear, and then you just ship it out along your way. And even to make things more simplistic for you, those bins that I have are not clear bins. So how am I supposed to know which bins require more inventory in them and are taking up a lot of dead space? So what I do is I have these plastic bags. I buy just hundreds of plastic bags from China, Ziploc bags, and whenever I sell a dress shirt, I include these with them. I put them in the bag. I don't put them in the shirt collar because I want them to be seen as a gift, because that's getting more in the psychology of business here. So I put it in here with the business card in there, and I take these bags, by the way, the whole point of me saying this is, I take these bags, I stick it to one of the bins, and then I put a piece of paper inside of it. I put a piece of paper in that, and every time I take an item out of it, I draw a mark on it. And then, whenever I realize, like, hey, it's time for me to refill these bins with fresh new inventory, I just look at the paper and say, hey, this bin could use 10 more items in it, for example. You don't need to dig through all your bins or look through all your bins. It is so easy, and it is a no-brainer for me. I really hope people aren't dealing with this problem, and I'm not trying to be condescending, but it is like, this is baby step stuff for YouTube and for eBay, and I just feel like when you get people who have like 50,000 subscribers talking about it, I don't have an inventory, but I've been doing eBay for years. I'm not going to get into that, but it's just not a good business practice. Please have an inventory system. So anyways, that's today's video. Let me know in the comments section below, do you have any problems with eBay? Because this is what the channel's going to be. If you ask a question, if I feel like I'm experienced enough to answer it, I'm going to answer it and make a video about it. That's going to be the channel right here. I might not get into too specific things because I know I'm helping out my competition and the channel is not monetized yet, but we're just going to go see where the channel goes from here. Let me know in the comment section below some of your problems, and also let me know what you think about the video as well, because this is the very first video on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and also hit subscribe if you haven't yet, if you enjoyed the video, of course. Notice I asked at the end of the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay classy.